The touch of death in MMA. Popularized by Conor McGregor's ability to touch people to sleep. Effortless in appearance. That is probably the best way to describe the touch of death. As if the shot that put you to sleep should not have. As if much harder shots could not do the job. Why the heck did that one? Thank you for joining me as I go over 5 examples of the touch of death in MMA. Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva is still considered by many to be the world's greatest warrior who had a knack for finishing his opponents in graceful, nonchalant manner. It's interesting considering his heavy Muay Thai core, which has a philosophy very contrary, typically a display of strength and firm stone-like resolve, an element of rigidity to it. Anderson, on the other hand, was fluid. He was relaxed, he was loose, and if we look into his past, we can firmly say that relaxed fluidity was a result of his ballet. Ballet being a nonchalant, elegant, and graceful art, for Anderson it appears to have been the perfect yin to his yang, giving depth to his overall style. Let's jump into an example where all those elements came together to give him his touch of death. Anderson walks in casually with his hands down, provoking Forrest to come in. Notice how he leans in with his right hand despite being a right hand dominant. From that southpaw position, leading with his dominant hand, provoking Forrest to come in. Relaxed, nonchalantly, he steps back, matrix styling on Griffin. Out of nowhere, his right hand goes whap with a fluid snap against Forrest Griffin's own momentum. Thus, the lights just go out. The element of surprise, relaxed fluidity in motion, and Griffin's own momentum are what sent Griffin, in that moment, to the afterlife. Jimmy Manuwa. Jimmy Manuwa was a UC MMA champion and is currently ranked number 5 in UFC light heavyweight rankings, and for good reason. The man has a knack for concussing his opponents. One shot, one kill.
One punch. Did you see the left hook being the shot that was going to get the job done?
Left hook's always the shot. One shot, one kill. One shot, one kill.
The left hand is always the shot. The man is clearly left hand dominant, even in this clip, clenching his left hand, indicating he's going to hurt Daniel Cormier with that hand. But counterintuitively, why does he do this? He knows people don't expect it, that they haven't trained for the left hand as a power shot when it leads, thus exploiting a psychological blind spot built on dogma. Even here, to reinforce this, let's observe 2 instances where he drops rights. But even then, it's nothing compared to his precise left hand, which looked near effortless in comparison to the wound back punch before. Understanding this, let's look at an example where he really shook the arena with his touch of death. Look at the way Corey Anderson is circling against the cage, trying to move away whilst Jimmy follows. Precisely with his lead hook, Jimmy lines up a shot right above the ear. Thus Corey's own momentum and the precision of the strike itself leave him limp mid-air, as if Jimmy straight up pushed an off switch. This was tragic for Corey, because theoretically, if Jimmy was actually right-hand dominant, he would have been circling away in the correct position, away from the power hand. It makes perfect sense to circle to your right against an orthodox right. But by Jimmy doing something so counterintuitive, leading with his dominant left hand, he exploited a hole in Corey's textbook understanding. Thus, with one touch, Corey circled into the power hand, and the lights just went out. Donald Cerrone. Who would have thought Donald Cerrone would be on this list? Donald is not fluid, he is not relaxed, he's actually very nervous and very anxious, an adrenaline junkie who thrives off that rush. A double-edged sword in that sense, as it fuels his passion for the fighting arena, but stiffens up his kinetic chain as a result, inhibiting his full capacity until he can get out of his shell. Despite that, he has a fluid snap in his legs that contradict the rest of his arsenal, and every once in a while, his left leg snaps out of nowhere, leaving us to wonder why this man isn't a champion. Then with his merciless fist, Jorge Masvidal explains, Cerrone is just bad under pressure. Nonetheless, let's look at a time when Donald demonstrated that glint of world breaker with his touch of death. Matt attempted to come in, but Donald stifled it, and with that little cheer, perhaps builds up a bit of confidence. He relaxed a little in that moment, and through that window where Matt attempted to snap his jab, that rare glint of world beater Cerrone showed, simultaneously swapping his leg into a relaxed snap, leading to an early nap from Matt. If Donald was always like this, with his experience and obvious natural aptitude, I have no doubt he would have been a champion at least once in his career. I truly believe that. Stephen Thompson. A lot of you hoped this dude would do in Tyron Woodley. And Tyron Woodley at the same time thought you were all racist. Despite his last fight with Tyron being an anxious standstill, this dude has had some pretty incredible KOs in his career. His hands are relatively stiff when striking, and he often leads with his dominant side, as he likes pressuring kicks with his dominant right leg. But sometimes he swaps stances and out of nowhere drops a 1-2 into a concussion you never would have seen coming. Let's dive right into it. Stephen Thompson throws a jab cross to keep your attention while slipping to the left, and then subtly brings his right leg up as he does. And just observe how relaxed and almost effortless he lobs that kick up against his opponent's brainstem. It's the same combo in both instances, and really, this kick is incredibly dangerous considering how it edges the medulla oblongata, the portion of the brain responsible for autonomous functions like the heart beating, breathing, circulation, masked very well with a standard 1-2, whilst coming from a very weird angle. Fluid delivery and the area of impact make this perhaps the most dangerous touch of death to be featured. And lastly, love him or hate him, Conor McGregor.
The way he picked apart Eddie Alvarez. Almost bizarre. Like magical. That's almost the word I want to use.
Correct.
Like he touches motherfuckers with that left hand. Well, it looked like Eddie, the moment he got hit, was like, what the fuck?
You could see on his face, he was like, holy but Jesus, what am I doing here? And then the accuracy of that combo that finally finished Eddie, that's what I think makes Conor so special, is his accuracy when he throws punches. Eddie's moving as he's landing this stuff. I've never seen anything like you said, it was straight up magical. I'm like, all right, well, we've never seen a guy like this. We just haven't.
Conor McGregor, quintessential depiction of fluid movement, unparalleled level of calm, brain-muscle communication to harmoniously snap his kinetic chain is next level, beautiful technique overall. He has all the tools to efficiently deliver force through his anatomy. But what really makes this man a unicorn is the precision and timing he uses to orchestrate all of this. All of Conor's punches look near effortless, as if they should not have anywhere near that level of power. But they do. And as each one connects, they put you in a dangerous position, for each touch could put you in a never-ending slumber. Conor steps in, putting his weight on his lead leg and holding his chin closer to Eddie, baiting him whilst also giving him the option to step back quickly just in case. Eddie respects it. Conor then gauges Eddie with his right as he slowly presses forward, and with a third poke of his right, Eddie tries to time a counter against it the moment it comes in, but he poorly assumed the distance he would need to cover, even if it landed barely grazing Conor's nose. But despite that, look at how precisely Conor moves out of the way, just enough to avoid the punch. That is nerves of steel, and his firm grasp of distance is just ungodly. Devastating overhand to the temple, slightly pushing Conor back, but simultaneously throws a corkscrew uppercut, which follows into an overhand into another corkscrew uppercut. It's the reverse combo Prince Nassim Hamed was iconic for, where Prince Nassim would use the corkscrew into a cross, but instead, Conor does a cross into a corkscrew in a way where it looks like an aerial combo from Mortal Kombat. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. So that was my segment featuring the touch of death. And of course I could have done many more, like Rose Namajunas nearly KOing Michelle Waterson by setting up for a fluid snap of her leg. Very beautifully done. Overall, the message is clear. It's the force you don't expect to take, whether it be set up where you don't see it coming, or just having your own force used against you. The touch of death leaves its victims in slumber through precise exploitation of these moments. Thus, it doesn't look forceful. It looks natural. It looks effortless. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. It's Kukarma, and until next time, peace.